sporting event on the planet, something happened that nobody saw coming. Not the players warming up, not the millions watching at home, not even the people inside SoFi Stadium fully understood what they were witnessing until it was already over. A 10-year-old boy walked onto the field next to one of the biggest pop stars in the world. And by the time he opened his mouth to sing, the entire stadium went silent. What most people don't know is that this moment was 5 years in the making. It started with a voice memo, a 5-year-old kid, a bedroom somewhere in Norway, and a recording that would somehow end up changing the opening night of the World Cup. Stick around, because the story behind this performance is wilder than anything you'd expect from a pre-game show. Let's start with what the world actually saw. Friday night, Los Angeles, the United States versus Paraguay, kicking off the 2026 World Cup. The pressure was already enormous. Every camera in the world pointed at SoFi Stadium. Every eye on the planet tuned in. And then out walks Katy Perry. She's not new to massive stages. She's headlined Super Bowls. She's sold out stadiums across the globe. But this time, she wasn't alone. Standing beside her was a small boy, 10 years old, Norwegian. Most viewers had never heard his name before that night. His name is Tius Lukas. Perry was dressed in a glittering silver gown, the kind of outfit built for exactly this moment. Flags from countries around the world surrounding them on the field, the energy of a global audience building before kickoff. And then the music started. It was Wonder, a track from Perry's 7th studio album 143, a song about hope, about looking at the world with fresh eyes. And as the music swelled, it was Tius who opened the song. Not Katy Perry, a 10-year-old boy, singing the first lines of the song to a crowd of tens of thousands live, with the entire planet watching. If you think that's the surprising part, you're not even close yet. Because here's where the story gets strange. This wasn't the first time Tius sang this part. In fact, the very first time he sang it, he wasn't 10, he was 5 years old. To understand how a 5-year-old's bedroom recording ended up becoming part of one of the biggest live broadcasts in television history, we have to go back to 2021. At that point, Katy Perry didn't know who Tius Lukas was. He was just a little kid in Norway with a voice that, according to people who heard it, had something different about it. Somewhere along the way, a recording of young Tius singing got made. Nothing fancy. Just his voice, captured on a track sitting somewhere in a digital folder. And then, for 2 years, that recording just existed sitting there, waiting. Here's the open loop you need to hold on to. Because what happens next is the part almost nobody saw coming. In 2023, 2 years after that recording was made, Katy Perry heard it. Not in a meeting, not in a planned audition. Somehow this vocal, recorded by a 5-year-old boy in Norway, made its way to one of the most successful pop stars on the planet. And it didn't just catch her attention, it did something more than that. According to Perry herself, hearing that vocal actually inspired her. She didn't just admire it, she went and wrote new verses. Verses that she then added directly into Wonder, a song already on her 6th album. Think about that for a second. A kid's voice recorded years earlier reached an artist with millions of fans and reshaped a song that was already finished. But even that wasn't the end of it. Because writing him into the song was one thing. Bringing him onto the literal World Cup stage, that's a completely different level. So how did a kid from Norway end up on the field at SoFi Stadium, representing one of the biggest collaborations of the night? By 2026, Tius wasn't 5 anymore, he was 10. And somewhere along the way, between that bedroom recording and the opening night of the World Cup, plans were made. Big ones. Picture this from his side for a second. You're a kid in Norway. Years ago, someone recorded you singing. You probably grew up, kept living your life. And then suddenly, you're being told you're flying to Los Angeles. Not for a school trip, not for a small local event, for the World Cup opening ceremony. To perform live on the field, next to Katy Perry, in front of a global audience. That's the kind of thing that sounds made up. But it's exactly what happened. Just ahead of the performance, Perry posted about it herself. She shared the story, how she'd heard his vocal back in 2023, how it inspired the verses she added to Wonder, and how Tius, now 10, had flown all the way from Norway to Los Angeles to sing the song with her Lev. And then came the moment everyone was waiting for. The flags, the lights, the crowd. And then Tius Lukas, 10 years old, thousands of miles from home, opened his mouth and sang the opening lines of Wonder to a stadium full of people who had no idea who he was just seconds earlier. By the time the song reached its final lines, it was Tius again closing it out, bookending the entire performance, opening it, closing it. A kid carrying some of the most emotionally important lines of a song, performed in front of one of the largest live audiences of the year. And when it ended, Katy Perry didn't just thank him with a handshake or a wave to the crowd. She lifted him up, right there, on the field, in front of everyone. She picked him up into an embrace, and the crowd at SoFi Stadium erupted. For a few seconds, the World Cup didn't matter. The flags, the teams, the pressure of the opening match, all of it faded into the background. What people were reacting to is something simpler than all that. A grown adult artist lifting a child into the air after he'd just helped carry one of the most meaningful moments of the night. So what happens now? For Tius, this isn't just a viral clip anymore. This is a kid who, at 10 years old, has now performed on one of the biggest stages in the world, alongside one of the most recognized pop stars on the planet, and the footage of it is already spreading everywhere. For Katy Perry, this adds another layer to her legacy of massive live performances. But this one's different. This one wasn't about her vocals, her outfit, or her stage presence. It was about handing the spotlight to a kid whose voice she discovered years earlier, and giving him a moment that most adults never get in their entire careers. And for everyone watching at home, it became the moment people couldn't stop talking about. Not the match, not the lineups, not the broadcast graphics. A 5-year-old's bedroom recording, somehow ending up on the field of the World Cup 5 years later. There's still a lot we don't know. How exactly that 2021 recording made its way to Katy Perry. What conversations happened behind the scenes to make this performance happen? Whether this is the start of something bigger for Tius or a once-in-a-lifetime moment that will never be repeated. One thing's for sure, nobody expected the opening night of the World Cup to be remembered for a 10-year-old's voice. So here's the question. In a night built around the world's biggest sporting event, why did one kid's voice end up being the moment everyone remembers? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next viral moment before everyone else does, make sure you're subscribed to Snap Craze Hub.